I'll call to order at 7:01 p.m. This is the Wednesday, February 14th, 2018 Finance Committee meeting. On the agenda, which does need to be amended, I do have for the 2019 budget, the Fire Department with Chief Pedrazi. We also have the DPW with Superintendent Wetzel, and some Mr. Pomprian, Town Administrator, is here for some discussions on a few budget items. We're going to have a debrief on the Ayer Shirley Regional School District budget and field proposal from last night. So I will ask for an amendment to the agenda to insert on new business under A after the Fire Department, DPW, and also administration.
I move that we make such a change.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Okay, it is amended. Thank you, gentlemen. So first this evening we have Chief Pedrazi from the Ayer Fire Department.
Good evening.
Chief, how are you? Thanks for coming this evening. So we just want to kind of go over your budget, and it's nothing that's in your budget, just we usually do the bigger ones each cycle. So all I'll ask is go through the budget to the level of detail that you wish. If there's anything that you want to kind of bring up for the committee to just kind of make us aware, because we do have some newer members over the last couple of years, please feel free to
I'll just
inject with that.
I'll just give you a brief overview of the department just to start.
Okay.
We're a combination department. We run the fire department and the ambulance service. We run 2 ambulances. We have 14 full-time personnel and 30 call members. And the call members are paid on call, so when they come to calls, they get paid. In addition to that, I don't think I've been here since we put in we have per diem shifts for the call members, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there's a call member working alongside the full-time guys Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. And that gives them experience, and it gives us an extra body on the weekends. And Fridays seem to be a very busy day, so the first year we started off with just the Saturday, Sunday, and last year we included Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we have a MOU with the union to allow that to happen, and they were all for it because we're still shorthanded. No matter, if we have 45 guys, we still don't ever have enough, it seems like, to do what we need to do.
How many do you generally run per shift?
Right now there's 3. There's 4 shifts of 3 members, and there's 1 fire inspector that works 4 10-hour days. He works 6:30 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday. And then myself, I work 6 to 4, Monday through Friday. And the administrative assistant is 30 hours a week.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the makeup of the department. So what I just handed out is what I submitted as my budget. There's no changes in it, so you should have already seen this. I don't know if you want me to walk through the process of how I get to my numbers.
If you gentlemen want to.
I've been on the capital committee, I've seen most of this already, so I've looked it over, it's pretty
Okay.
self-explanatory. And I've copied
No
you
problem.
guys on all that stuff already, so
All right.
you've probably seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Basically, if you look in the packet, I start with one of these for each person, and it just tells all their pay rates, all the stipends they get, and the ones that are highlighted in yellow are ones that they're going to be getting in the next year that's going to affect their pay, so that's how I project out my budget. So I take all those numbers and I plug them into, I think it's the 3rd or the 4th page in. It's the 3rd page in on the back. So, and that's all the salaries for the full-time people, including all the projected stuff. That includes the holiday pay for the regular holiday pay that they get. And then I come out with an overtime, because their overtime rate is based on their regular rate of pay plus their stipends, so that all the rates are different, and they change anytime they get something. So what I do is I come out with an average overtime for everyone. And then a large part of my budget, as you know, is overtime related. So if you go to, I'm gonna find the other page, it has the overtime breakdown there. Okay, it's towards the back. I don't know what page it's on, but it looks very similar to the other one. So I take all the different categories of overtime and how many hours need to be covered by each one. Vacation time, sick time, incentive days. And what I do for that, I take a 5-year average of what's been used, and that's what I use for my number. And then I put in my, they get extra pay when they're working holidays, so that's considered coming out of overtime. Injured on duty, even though when they're injured on duty, they're covered under a state law that pays them their full benefits as long as they're out. But the town has an insurance policy that pays the town back $1,000 a week, but it doesn't quite cover me paying somebody to work. So I figured that in that way. Court time, training days. Actually, training days I took out of here because it's a separate line item now. Refresher classes. Mechanic, that one of my full-time guys is a certified mechanic, and sometimes I have him come in off duty to do some mechanic work that saves us a lot of money. EMS directors meetings, fire prevention investigation, and there's a new one at the very bottom. It's highlighted in red. There's a requirement by the state now that the paramedics have to attend 2 of these, what they call M&Ms at the hospital, where the doctor goes over cases.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to attend 2 of those a year, and all the other EMTs have to attend at least 1.
Okay.
So I added in some money in there for that. And then I come out, that's how I get my overtime numbers. So I don't just pick it out of the year.
It's a very well-designed and meticulous approach that you do.
Yeah, so that's the way I work it through, and that's why, the numbers, and they seem to work. You can have a year where, somebody gets really sick and is out for a long time, and I have to keep covering that. Because we cover man for man. We have a minimum manning clause in the contract, so I have to have the 3 people there all the time, 24/7. So I can't go down to 2. I can't bring the call people in to fill shifts for them when they're out, unless none of them want to work, and then we can. But I guess that's kind of it in a nutshell for the fire budget. The supplies and services line items, I do the same thing. I go through. I have a whole list of stuff that, I have line items for money, and I come out with a number. It goes up slightly.
Just one quick question. So the turnout gear, 12,000.
Yes.
That's been about the same. Is still enough money for
It
the
is
turnout?
enough, yeah. And yes, it went up last year. I added $2,000 to it, and we were able to buy, and we're on schedule, because it's only good for 10 years. It drives me crazy. The NFPA put out a standard that if it's brand new and it's 10 years old, you have to throw it away. Doesn't matter.
No questions asked.
Yeah, that's it. So 10 years, it's gone. We have a replacement schedule, and this amount of money fits into that category.
Okay,
So,
excellent.
yeah, the $2,000 extra gave us a little extra to buy some of the gear. We had to get repaired, which you can, but you got to send it to a certified person, and that gives us some money to buy boots and gloves. And the 10,000 is just basically for the turnout coat and the pants.
Okay,
So,
excellent.
yeah, so that is enough right now.
Any other questions on the fire department itself?
So, in the ambulance enterprise, the next one, that's the next sheet. That I work with the town accountant on to come up with the numbers. And if you look at it's not a complete budget. It's my. I have to get my numbers for the fire department budget and for the overtime before I can do this budget, because there's an indirect cost reimbursement. So it's so much percent of my salary, so much percent of the my administrative assistant salary, and so much of the guy's salaries are all put in a formula. So I have to get the numbers for the fire department budget to do the ambulance budget. The numbers that I don't know, that I can't figure out, are the short-term interest, the principal payments and the stuff like that that the accountant puts in. And she hasn't put those numbers in to me yet.
Okay.
But it'll be similar. I used last year's numbers. So it may be less, it could be a little more buying the new ambulance with the interest. But it'll be very close to what the number is right there. And we're still able to support that with, without getting a subsidy from the general fund.
Good. Thanks, Harry.
Emergency management budget. It's a small budget, but I did add into the supplies line item. I added almost $2,000 into that because we're starting a CERT team, which is a community emergency response team. I advertised and we have 10 members. They met Monday night for their first meeting. So I put that extra money in there to buy some supplies for them.
Okay.
We're gonna need like ID badges and some kind of reflective vests, you know, very minor stuff. And the purpose of them, it's a fire department CERT team, but their main purpose, which they all decided the other night, what they were gonna do was they're gonna do rehab at fires, which is a non-emergency. It's an all non-emergent task. These people aren't gonna have turnout gear, they're not gonna have radios, it's civilians, there's no pay involved. We do have insurance for them. But they're gonna do rehab at fire scenes, they're gonna man shelter if we have to open shelters, and there's all FEMA programs to teach these
Okay.
things, and they're all willing to do stuff. They just wanna give back to the community, so that's what the increase in that is for.
So is there any travel to these FEMA sessions required?
Most of the stuff's online,
Is it okay?
yeah. And then some of it, if they have to go to classes, I'm not paying them to go. I mean, if they wanna do it, and they all know that, they all, you know, these guys, they're looking for stuff to do.
All right. Is that it? That's everything?
Well, it's the three budgets. I don't know if
Okay.
you wanna go over any of the.
Question on
There's one
the
thing.
power washer.
Yes, that's what I was just.
You want to give a little
Yeah.
color commentary on that?
Yeah.
You wanna borrow?
So the stuff that,
I can bring my car down.
so the stuff that Mark puts on the road now, instead of sand and salt like they used to, it's, you know, it's all salt now, which is fine. But, he also puts some kind of a binding agent in there, and it sticks to the chassis of the vehicles more than what they used to. So, we're looking at, we have a power washer now, but I think it's close to 20 years old. We bought it right after Tony's burnt, and it still works fine, but it's not powerful. You can't run it inside because
Yeah.
it's kerosene, you know, operated. It's similar to the one you have, Power America jobs. This is also Power America, but it's a 3 horsepower electric motor with a pump on it. And there's a apparatus that you can hook to it. It's on wheels, and you push it underneath the trucks, and it sprays up, and it cleans the undercarriages of the vehicles.
That's cool.
And there would be some money, extra money, other than what the quote is for hooking up electrical to it, because it's a 220, it runs on 220,
Yeah.
and we'd have to run power to, basically to the middle of the truck bay, where we would have that hooked up. But
Okay.
that's it in a nutshell. And just one other thing that isn't in here, and I have to pursue it, and I may be able to find a funding source for it, I'm not sure yet. In light of the school shooting in Florida tonight, we've been talking about, there's a thing called tactical EMS, where, Kristen probably knows about it, where EMTs go in with police officers. We may be looking for some money to buy some bulletproof vests.
How much?
I have no clue.
No
I
clue?
don't-
Can
no,
you
I
get
don't.
grants for that?
Yeah, you probably can.
We got grants for ours.
Yeah, you probably can.
I'm sure you
Right.
get grants for that.
But it's just
How-
something, one of the lieutenants emailed me tonight, and he's like, you know, we've been talking about this, I think we need to,
Yeah.
you know,
What's the
something we
what's
need
the
to
time
do.
turnover for the grant though?
Well, I didn't even know what
Yeah.
grant we'd apply for it under yet. I'd have to look into it,
Fire
but
service.
they say, we're gonna research, it's just something I thought I should probably bring out,
Okay.
because you may see it when I go to talk to Robert and Lisa, I'll have more information on it, so.
Yeah, keep
That would
us
be another
apprised because
that
I
would be another
think
one-time
that's something that's
expense.
important.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yep.
Yeah, we can add the funding to the budget if we get it in before town meeting.
Yeah, I have no idea how much it would be, but,
All right.
yeah, not even a clue. I don't know, if there's any other questions I can answer for you, I'd be more than happy.
So on the capital side, so you're
Oh,
getting a new
capital.
ambulance?
Yes, new
Um,
ambulance.
And then we have the power washer. How's the rest of the equipment holding up?
There's
Anything in
also,
the pipeline?
there's also a new service truck in that,
New service
capital.
truck?
Yep. And-
Oh, yeah, the Forest Service.
And
What
what that
are
would
we
do-
doing with the old one?
Yeah, we'll take
Is that
the old
pickup
one.
of the forestry truck?
Yeah, the one that we have currently now, we'll go back to forestry truck and we'll get rid of the forestry truck that we have. We'll go. So we'll actually have two good plows, a plow which is needed over there because there's no place to put snow in the front of that building. You have to push everything around back. It's just,
The design was amazing.
yeah, I know, believe me,
You want to put in for a loader?
but no.
Do you want,
No,
would you like a heated driveway and just kind of flip it on and watch the electric meter turn?
It'd be
Melt
nice.
everything as it falls.
We almost
How
do.
about drones that drop salt and calcium chloride?
Mark's guys take good care of us with, we pile it all out back, and within a day or two, they come and move it, and get it out of the way, because, yeah, it's not the most efficient place to plow snow.
Yeah, excellent.
Uh,
Any other questions for Chief Pedrazi?
No.
All
You
right.
guys do a great job down there, Chief. Commendment to you and your staff.
Thank you, Chris.
You guys do over and above.
Yeah.
For what you have for a small town, we should all be very thankful.
Yeah,
for
I
the
have a
service.
very, very well-trained group of guys, and they pride themselves on doing a good job, and they do a good job.
And it shows.
They do.
It
Yeah.
certainly does show.
They do, and the town's been very supportive with buying us equipment. I was, I was talking to Patrick earlier about the cost of the ambulance, and, it's sticker shock. It is what it is.
Yeah.
There's, it's all, I asked the vendor for
Yeah.
a price for capital planning, and when he told me, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like,
I want a truck, not an
The
airplane.
times have changed, right?
But I mean, it's all, it's all pre-bid, and I was telling him, the MAPC does a cooperative bid with the Fire Chiefs Association, and that stuff's all pre-bid, so you got a big book of stuff, you pick out the chassis, the box, you pick out the whole thing, come up with a price.
We do the same. The GBC bid, the
Yeah.
MAPC, the
Yeah.
Plymouth County,
Yeah.
it's there. It's
They're all- yeah.
like you order off of a menu.
Right, yeah, and that's what the price comes out at.
That's cool. All right, Chief, thanks very much.
Thank you very
No,
much.
you're very
It's,
welcome. Yeah.
It's come a long way since we were fighting to find $10,000 for turnout gear.
You're right.
like,
No, you're absolutely
7 or 8
right.
years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the town, credit to you guys and Robert and Lisa.
Yeah, we haven't done it in a while.
The town's really in good shape financially.
Yeah, I mean, the employees play a big part in that also.
They
We
do.
want to give them a lot of credit in that, so.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you.
Yep, good night.
Good night. All right, so up next we have Superintendent Mark Wetzel.
Yes, and I apologize for coming.
Oh, don't worry about it. Actually,
Just gave us a night off, thank you.
we'll find stuff to talk about.
I like Chris's plan.
Actually, I forgot to email you because someone mentioned to me last night. I think Robert made a comment that you thought you were coming tonight, and I was like, oh no, maybe it's the wrong month, and it slipped my mind this morning, so I apologize.
Oh, that's
no,
all right.
No problem at all.
And I had met with Robert and Lisa this afternoon and went through things. And so we made a few changes in the budget, and we did not go over the enterprise funds. So for the new people on the committee, so my name is Mark Wetzel. I'm Superintendent of Public Works. We have a staff of 23 people. We're in different divisions. So we have administration, which is me, the town engineer, the business manager, and our administrative support person. We have the highway division, which does the roads, the signs, the snow plowing, and let me also clarify on snow plowing. Everybody in the DPW does snow plowing, but the highway are the main guys. So we have what's called a highway storm. So if you see just trucks out salting or there's a couple inches, then it's just the highway guys. But once you get a lot of plowable snow, we get the whole crew out there. And one of the things that I try to point out to people is when it stops snowing, the water guys still have a water treatment plant to run, and the wastewater guys still have a wastewater treatment plant to run, and the solid waste guys still have to go and get the transfer station ready. So people say, well, how come you didn't get all the snow off of Main Street? And I'm like, well, we will, but we have to schedule it because the guys need to, number one, finish their snow plow, and number two, do the real jobs, and number three, get some sleep. 'Cause
Yeah.
they can be punched in for quite a while. We have the solid waste, which is 2 guys up at the transfer station. They work Monday, Tuesday are the cleanup, organize. They haul a lot of the leaf waste or yard waste on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays we're open, and then Saturdays and Sundays. So their weekend is Thursday and Friday. And then we have an advanced wastewater treatment plant where we have 6 people that operate that, plus the sewer collection system in town. And then we have 5 people in the water department, which run 2 water treatment plants and 2 water storage tanks, and read the meters and just about everything else. So, and then also within our budget, we have the street lighting. So we were responsible for just maintaining the lights on Main Street. But recently we purchased all of the street lights from National Grid, and we're in the process of converting to LED, and that's reflected in the budget. We have actually grant money to do all of the conversion, and that should be starting 2 weeks at the latest.
Okay. How long will it take to do the whole thing?
Probably 3 weeks.
3 months, that
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, they do them really quick.
Are you a subcommittee to do that?
So we have a contractor, Daigle Electric. They do. We did all the procurement through Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. So what they did, basically, they got a grant from the state, and so we got a grant of about $44,000 through them. We got a Green Community grant of about $175,000, and then we got a National Grid rebate of about, I think that was $33,000. And the total project's going to cost about $190,000. So we have more money than we have to spend. And so we did all the procurement with MAPC. So, one of the other things that we're putting in is since we were under budget, we are putting in these advanced controllers. So each street light is going to have it creates a mesh network, and I can sit at my desk in my office, or if you guys are nice to me, I can give you the password, and we can turn lights off, turn lights on.
I'll take that,
dim
because
them.
my daughter has one outside of her bedroom window that bothers her some nights.
And we can dim it too. We can say, we want it on until 11 o'clock, and then dim it down to 50%. So that's what we're proposing to do is, once we get everything up and running, is set up areas in the town where we can dim the lights. Obviously we don't want to do it in like Main Street or really busy places, but some of the neighborhoods we can put them down to half
So is
level.
the town IT department going to have the scripts for, once you figure out what that is, stored on the server somewhere? So that in the event, if you have a failure of the control system, you don't have to completely re-script the entire town. You've got it stored.
It's all on the cloud.
Okay.
So we don't have the actual software. We're just connecting to an IP address.
Okay. And you pay for that monthly, or how does that work?
It's included. No, there's no annual cost. It's included when you buy
Very good.
the controllers.
Okay.
So
That's
I mean, and one of the other nice things about it, so it uses and you IT guys probably know more about it than I do. It uses a really low wattage or radio frequency. But if we wanted to say put a TV camera up on a street light, we can plug in another node into that one that then has a cellular link. So then they can send a lot more data. So it's got a lot of flexibility. And what we
But
call
it's
it,
a lot more expensive, because that's
right.
that's a
That
license.
gets expensive.
Yeah, because then
but,
you're going to contract with AT&T or somebody to use their license.
Yeah, but what we were looking at, we wanted to make sure that whatever we bought was future proofed. So if we wanted to put something in that was more advanced, we could plug it right in instead of saying, oh, gee, we should have thought of that. So anyway, and I don't know if you have the copy of the budget. We made a couple changes, and I actually found a mistake when I was meeting with. I found a couple mistakes when I met with the town accountant and the town administrator.
Can you
For-
forward along, just when you get a chance later on this week, can you
Sure.
forward along just
Yeah,
the change?
but I just wanted to bring up on my summary page, and I don't know how this came out, I haven't looked at my spreadsheet, but I show an amount change of negative $1,300. And if you look at the FY18 budget and the proposed FY19 budget, it doesn't add up. So that's really about $56,000, which comes out to about 3.8%. But we did make an adjustment in the highway budget of, we brought that down 6,000. So what that means is the total comes out to about $50,771, which is about 3.4% increase.
Okay.
Also, in the numbers you have, I hadn't gone through my detailed increases, wage increases. It's a little
Yeah.
complicated, and Lisa and I have worked on that since then and plugged in the.
I
And I haven't
think
plugged
most,
in the
most
correct
years
numbers.
you,
But
you
they're
give it to us.
yeah, but they're
kind
pretty
of
close. It was
about-
within $1,000 here and
Okay.
$2,000
All
there.
right.
And then and we have, out of our divisions, we have 3 enterprise funds. So the water fund is self-funded out of the water rates, and the sewer is funded out of the sewer rates. And the solid waste fund is partially funded out of the permits and the bag fees. It's probably about, I think it's about 60% covers it. We keep trying to bring that the subsidy down every year, but also keep it somewhat affordable.
So does the offset between the fees for the stickers and the bags comes out of general fund, or where?
Right. Yeah. And and then just when I go through the budget on my my spreadsheet, I only show you on the forms you give me FY15 through FY18, but
Yeah.
I have it going way back even
I'm
more.
sure.
I think it goes back to like 2006 or 2008.
Excellent.
And so what I generally will do is I do a couple different things. One is I look at my FY18 to date and I project that out and say, if this was a full year, where would I be, and see if that matches up with or if there's anything out of whack. And if that's the case, I look at my expenses to date. I also look at either a 3-year or a 5-year average across the year. For overtime costs, since that's hard to predict, I look at the trend of the percentage of the regular salary versus the overtime historically. And then I'll go through my detailed budgets for the year, which shows every expenditure under every category, and look at the things that I know we're going to spend, like for instance, drug testing. Well, I know we do drug testing every year, and that's a number that's just not going to change. But there might be something that out of the ordinary, like we bought a new pH kit for the wastewater plant. We're not going to buy one of those every year. So I kind of balance that out and see where I might need to adjust things up or down. One of the other factors that you'll see in the administration, the DPW administration budget is, we're building a new building, and that should be open at the beginning of the fiscal year. And so I have some increased costs for utilities and increased costs for some office supplies related to the new building. And once we get that running and have some history, we can adjust that a little bit. But I looked at about what I thought the utilities would be for that building.
Nice new shiny things in town. The just quick stupid question on the Ricoh copier, $500. And do you work with Cindy to pick that out and make sure it's
Yeah, and that's
something
more supplies for it.
Okay.
That's like
Okay.
toner and service
All
and
right.
things like that.
Okay.
We're not buying a new one. It's just, and I don't know exactly why I put Ricoh copier on there.
Do you have a maintenance agreement on it, or is it as needed?
I'm not sure. But And that's not the only services in there. I don't know why I wrote that down there, but that was something I had
Probably
for
'cause it didn't work and you
probably
weren't notified.
carried over. Yeah, that may be what it was. Let's see. We did decrease on the highway budget, the road maintenance. I decreased that from 9,000 to 8,000 based on looking at some historical. And what happens is some of these line items get mixed together certain years. So
Yeah.
for instance, road maintenance and public works supplies kind of blend together, and it depends on what the mood is when they put it into the account. So, and then I also reduced the public works supplies. We had some one-time costs in there, so we reduced that from 30,000 down to 25,000. So the total highway budget goes down about $6,000. And then the other comment that Ms. Gabri wanted me to bring up was I increased for our snow removal budget, I increased our sand and salt to from 100,000 to 120.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
And so what I did was I looked at how much salt we used last winter, and I didn't put down that full amount, but I used more than what
Yep.
we had budgeted, and based on the salt price that we used plus 10%.
How much salt do you carry between seasons generally?
Last year we used 2,800 ton,
Yeah.
and it really depends. This year's been a weird year because we've had a lot more ice events that it's not just go out and hit it with salt. It's like it's sort of freezing rain and
Yeah.
or a little bit of snow and then a little bit of rain,
Yeah.
and you can't really plow it. You just kind of have to melt it. Yeah, the one last week was like that. It was, yeah. One thing we've been fortunate with this year is a lot of the storms have been during the day,
Yeah.
so they don't start at 3:30 at night.
Are you still comfortable with that amount for the salt and sand for the one with the 120?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we can deficit spend, but
yeah, and I haven't seen the numbers to date, but through so far this year we're still in fairly good shape. What was I at? Let's see. Yeah, so this year we've spent 205,000, and our budget was 262. So we have a little bit left,
okay.
and so I keep an eye on it and see if we have any need to deficit spend. But it's hard to predict. We may not have
I know.
another event the rest of the winter.
Frozen December into January, and
Yeah.
50 degrees today. So.
And then, if you remember, 2 winters ago when we got the 10 feet of snow,
Yeah.
it didn't snow until early February.
Right.
And then it didn't stop until.
And it didn't stop. I remember thinking, oh, we're going to get through this winter. It's not going to be bad at all.
So it was your fault.
And then I reduced the street lights. We have a budget for the street light costs of $45,000, and I reduced that down to $30,000. The 45 was a reduction from FY17 actuals was 51,000. So we will have the LEDs for part of the year. I think the 30,000 is fairly generous, but I don't want to cut it too much until I really see what's happening.
Yeah. That's
And one thing
understandable.
with the dimming is not in the tariff right now. So we're putting in most lights will be 17 watt LEDs, and we'll dim those down to 9 or 10 watt. But we'll still get charged for 17 watt. But National Grid is coming out with a tariff that will address the actual usage, and that's one of the things these controllers actually measure your electric
Yeah,
usage.
so-
So we can provide that to them, and then they'll bill us off of that.
So when it's holiday season, we can pipe in Trans-Siberian Orchestra and
We have-
coordinate the
yeah.
entire town.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, all
No
right,
whole
excellent.
collection. So do you have any numbers regarding the life cycle of the LEDs in real time versus projected? Because LEDs are not inexpensive,
Right.
but
Um,
we use a lot, so
I know that and I don't have it with me, but the consultant did do a life cycle cost we do have a 10-year warranty on the lights.
okay,
So,
that's a good.
so that's one of the reasons why the services have gone down also. We still do own these lights out here that will need some maintenance, but
Are those
But
gonna
all
be
the-
retrofitted?
well, those are already retrofitted. So I can't do it with the grant.
You can't
What we've been trying to do is replace those lights on do a couple a year. Sometimes people hit them with their cars and we get them done for free.
How do you schedule that?
Start putting targets on the ones that need replacing. Please hit here.
And you get a coupon to Domino's.
So we will still have some maintenance costs with those, but we did see it when we switched those to LEDs, which was just before I got here. It was big savings. And then the fuel, I reduced that. Actually, I didn't reduce it. What I did was, for some reason, I'm still not sure how we do this. We charge housing; they're not part of the town, so we charge them for their fuel. But I always, my budget had carried a positive number, and I made it a negative number to reflect that they
Okay.
pay us for it, and same with parks. But
the funds that they pay us go just back into the general fund.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually go to the budget line.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Well, this is how she reports it to me, the negatives.
Okay.
So she does put it in that account, but it's all general fund.
Okay. All right.
And it's a little tricky. You can see in FY17 we only spent $47,000. As you know, the price of gas can be pretty volatile. It's been fairly
Yeah.
consistent lately. But the other
Yeah,
thing,
so 60
yeah, but
60 to 70,000.
but one of the things with 16 that may have happened was at the end of the year, I said, make sure we top our tanks off because I have money left in my fuel budget.
Okay.
So, so that may reflect why 17 is a little lower also. We probably got to.
With the U.S. about to become the world's largest exporter of oil, and the price of oil has now come down $12 a barrel in the last 3 weeks, you may find yourself with a bonus.
They want to buy a second tank to save up.
Hopefully.
Just a quick question on the equipment repair.
Yes.
So they do maintenance and repairs on the DPW. Do they do other departments also within town?
Not unless we're requested to.
Okay.
So generally, we don't. But if for instance, the police may want a new bumper guard put on a vehicle, or take one off an old vehicle and put on a new vehicle, we'll do that for them. But generally, we don't do maintenance on their
Okay.
vehicles.
Thank you.
It's an interesting question. I wonder if there would be some economies of scale, utilization of resources, as well as benefit by doing some level of self-maintenance on those things that are common. Just
Yeah, we talked about that a while back.
Yeah.
I think part of it was capacity
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the garage
Well,
itself.
You need personnel because our DPW services, the police vehicles, the town hall vehicles, they don't do fire and they do highway, but they also have 3 full-time mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have one full-time mechanic, and then we have a couple other. Well, we have a mechanic who takes care of the wastewater vehicles most of the time. But if he needs ball joints or something heavy, then he brings it up. And he'll do the oil changes and getting it ready for inspection and things. And then our assistant highway foreman spends a lot of time, especially this time of year, getting the trucks after a storm ready for the next storm and fixing things up. And he's also a good small engine mechanic, so he gets the mowers and weed whackers and stuff going. So we have a pretty good crew, and especially this time of year when there's not a lot of stuff the highway guys can do outside other than patching potholes, and so they're doing a lot of equipment maintenance. The other thing I wanted to mention is the stormwater management. We have a new permit. So we have a permit from the EPA to discharge our stormwater, and there's a new permit that was supposed to come out in July of this year, or of last year. I think Newton and Needham and a couple other towns sued the EPA or threatened to sue the EPA, and so they delayed it for a year. And I just was at a 2-day training on this new permit. At this point, there's a lot of work that we have to do in-house with stormwater management plan, and we've already started doing some of it with the mapping and things, but it's going to get more and more intensive as we progress over the next 5 years. So, but we have been being proactive on a lot of that stuff, so we knew we were going to have to sample our ponds, so we go out and sample water in the ponds 3 times a year, and that has money to get the samples analyzed and things like that. We've done a lot of the mapping. We have the GIS system, so that number I'm pretty comfortable with. It did go up a fair amount because we added some dollars. Instead of in the capital budget, we put it in the operating budget for stormwater, sewer, the pipe upgrades and culverts. So,
Excellent.
and I did not go over the enterprise funds. I don't think that the town accountant has all the
Okay.
indirect costs and borrowing and everything done.
All right.
But
Yeah, we usually don't get too into detail on the enterprise funds during the review process, so unless there's specific questions about any of the enterprise funds.
Yeah, and one thing that I will be talking with her about, I need to look at some numbers. This is something relatively recent. I don't know if you've seen, I've given a couple of presentations to the Board of Selectmen. We have a emerging contaminant in our Grove Pond wells, and so we're looking at options for how we're going to deal with that. And so we have some capital costs associated with it. We'll also, until we can get a treatment in place, we'll have some operating costs, primarily related to pumping and purchasing water. So
I still haven't heard anything from the powers that be on that yet.
I've got a pretty good hint.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DEP is probably going to send us a letter within the next 2 weeks that basically says this is the new health advisory. And they didn't say we couldn't use the well, but they said it was a town decision and they would strongly advise against it. So we have a plan in place to reactivate one of our inactive wells to take up the capacity. We're in a little bit of a sticky situation. If we had another month, we'd be fine. But we're in the process of rehabbing 2 wells at our other well field, and you can only do those one at a time. So we're almost done with one, and then we'll do the other one. But we just took samples from our inactive well that we pumped for 5 days, and we'll activate that if the samples come back fine. And then we're also talking with Littleton about a formal agreement on an interconnection. So we have an emergency interconnection with them, but we don't. It's more of a, hey, can we open the valve? And so we need to come up with a plan for if we need more water. And then I'm also putting out to bid fairly soon a permanent interconnection with Devon's.
Okay, so you are going to pursue the Devon's interconnect just as an insurance policy?
Well, yeah, that was something that we talked about doing, and it's in the capital budget this year. I hadn't really elevated it until this problem came up, and then I said, oh, I better get that out to bid. It's a little trickier because Devon's has the same hydraulic gradient that we do, which is, if our wells are pumping, we can't get water from Devon's. The water will flow to them. If our wells are off, we can pull water in. But it's going to be taking some operational testing of what supplies and what tank levels and things to make that work. But we mostly wanted to do it because we were concerned when we had the drought 2 years ago. If we lost a supply, we were screwed.
Yeah.
So this is kind of how to have us look at the whole big picture. Which there's also, I added some money in my water budget to, it's not much, I think it was $10,000, to relook at all the test wells we've done throughout town and start saying, well, maybe we need to determine whether there is another site in town. So they may have done some testing and said, well, this is kind of it's okay, but not the best site. Let's go over here. And so we want to go back and relook at all those and see if we want to do some additional testing. And it's interesting because I did a project, it was a long time ago, back in the early 80s, in the town of Stoughton, and we put a well in. I think we put 6 or 8 wells in on a 100-foot grid, and 2 of them pumped like mad, and the other ones were no good. So if you hadn't put them in a grid, you would have known. And it's one of their best wells.
Wow,
So
that's interesting.
it is really phenomenal. It's just saying, gee, just moving 50 feet from there, it makes a huge difference. So.
Do you think most of the costs for any of these things that have to occur because of this issue are going to be capital expenditures and not general fund expenditures?
I would say all of the temporary connections will be in the operating budget.
Okay.
The permanent solution, which I did get a cost on that, but I need to talk to my engineering firm. There's a lot of contingency. Yeah.
So it came back too low, right? Much lower than you
yeah.
anticipated.
And so there is a pretty big hit in the capital on that. And hopefully, Devon's knows that they're the source, so hopefully at some point the town can recover all the costs, and I'm keeping track of everything that we're spending on this. So just to do a set of samples, and we have to do them quarterly, is $2,600.
Is that per well or across
For
the
all the wells,
okay.
yeah.
That's not inexpensive.
No. And the ones we just did, we did expedited, so I don't know how much that is. But
$3,500.
the state told me they were paying for it. But
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good luck.
Right.
When the check shows up, they know they have, right? Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions for DPW?
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much, Mark. If you can just get us the updates, if you get a chance, maybe
Yeah.
before, I'd prefer before the weekend, so I can just
Okay.
update my model
Yeah.
Over the weekend.
yeah, I already
appreciate
plugged
it.
in a lot of them into the spreadsheet.
Okay.
So that I can. Now, would you prefer an Excel?
Excel would be great. Yeah.
Thank you for a job.
So I'll email it to you, and then you can.
Yep, I'll distribute it to the group.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about March 14th now. Take the night off.
Yeah.
Thank you for a job well done. Your crew does a great job, and thank you for the clean water, that new connection.
Yeah,
It's
did
worked
that
out
make a
very-
big difference?
Yeah, made a huge
Was
difference.
that a well pun?
Excuse me?
You said a job well done.
Well done,
They-
yeah.
Just
Oh,
talking
that's
about
a good
well.
idea.
So the loop
You
down
get
Right
points
Road
for
came
that.
through, huh?
The
You get
loop,
points
the
for
loop
that.
came out, and the loop has worked very good. The water's a lot cleaner up there now.
And that was under budget. I was surprised. Where do you
I
live,
thank you
Fred?
for that too. I'm on
Over
that.
at Pingree Way,
Okay. Good.
close to Littleton.
Okay. Have you met? This is Greg Ketchum. You know Pat. You know
Yeah.
Chris. And you know me. And that's Robert.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Do you want me to sit around?
All right. So next we have Town Administrator, Mr. Pombriant. Robert, how are you? Thank you for your patience.
No problem. Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, long time no see since
Yeah,
last night. And in the interest of,
Are we going to do this again tomorrow night?
yeah, I will be here for all of your FinCom meetings moving forward, so I will keep this very brief in the interest
Okay.
of time. There was just a couple of points I just wanted to address with the committee, and I had talked to the chairman with. The first has to do with the draft budget that you received. That draft budget was the initial draft. There's obviously a lot of variables there. If you look at it, it came in over 6%, which of course is not acceptable or not sustainable. Ms. Cabri and I, since you received that, did some initial polishing, got it down to 4%, and I've been meeting with departments, as you heard, and I will get to the chairman for all of you an update of this.
Okay.
I'm going to get it to you this so you have it for the weekend, and I know you meet on the 28th. So I just wanted you to know that there are some things moving, but in a positive direction, in where we need to get the budget as close as we can with reason to 2.5%. Now, that's a stretch, but we can get close there. And as we'll talk another night in more detail, as the chairman knows about the model and the issue of sustainability. But so I just wanted you to know that at first budget, it wasn't like, okay, 6% increase, here we go. For example, I met with the facilities director this morning, and we reduced that budget by $19,000 because he had a lot of duplicated costs that are in DPW. So it's good news in that sense. It's not going the other way. Secondly, I'm scheduled to come on the 28th to talk about the administration's budget and the town council's budget, which will be timely. And why that'll be timely is we are in a situation that I'm going to be requesting from the Board of Selectmen, and then I'll come to you gentlemen on the 28th, a reserve fund transfer for the town council account. That account for FY18, we budgeted $120,000 for. At that time, since that time, there's been a lawsuit against the town regarding the eminent domain takings, and that has been one of the significant stressors on this budget. So in the interest of time tonight, I'm just giving the overview, but my plan is when I come to you on the 28th, we'll go through the administration's budget, which is relatively straightforward, answer any questions you have, talk about the town council RFT, and I will have, as the chair knows, I always have all of the backup, and a reserve fund is either for unforeseen or extraordinary circumstances. That I take these very serious. I do not like to come here for them, but we will discuss that, and we'll go through the town council budget looking forward to FY19. The last thing I asked the chairman, on March the 28th, you're scheduled to meet with the library, and I would also like to come on the 28th as well. As the committee is aware, the government reorganization articles that were approved at town meeting are moving through the legislature. That reorganization is going to change the way we do some things on the financial end. I'm trying to there are some costs to that, which I believe we've been very successful in absorbing most of those in the existing budget. But as the Finance Committee, I'd like to come with my finance team, which is Ms. Cabri, Mr. Johnston, I just walked in, and so forth, just for a few moments of your time on the 28th so we're all on the same page. If I can do it the 14th, I will, if you're still planning to meet the 14th, I'll
March
work.
14th?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone else wants the night off.
Okay, so the 28th would be the best. So the 28th,
You let me know what
Yeah.
works best for you. If you're
14th is fine. If we
Yeah.
can do
yeah,
that.
if you're ready to go
yeah.
at our next meeting on the 28th, you can do it then. If not, the 14th, we can move you to the 14th.
Okay, I'll coordinate with you. So that's because I think that's important overall. Budgetary, there's maybe a slight impact, but more importantly, as we move forward. And then lastly, I'm sorry, I lost my spot. Okay, lastly, the major building blocks of the budget, as you gentlemen see, are starting. It's a process to fall in place. I know you were there last night. There's the assessment from the regional school. the assessment from the Neshoba Tech we now have, the
Yep.
revenue projections, the first pass. Health insurance, the biggest wild card, just a quick update. We budgeted 15%. Mr. Johnston is the town's representative to the Minuteman Neshoba Health Group that we belong to, and he's the voting member and represents the town there. Their meeting is tomorrow, actually. We're hoping and planning for that number to be somewhere between 12 and 13% as opposed to 15%. So when I see you on the 28th, we'll talk about health insurance as well. So I just wanted to touch base as we move forward. If you gentlemen need any information or anything, that's what we're here for, to work with you. If you're not getting information you need, let me know or stop by. So I will come back on the 28th for my budget and the town council budget and the RFT that pertains to town council, and I'll get you information through the chair prior to that meeting. And we'll plan for the 28th of March with the library, after the
Yep.
library, on the reorg. And if we're moving ahead and we can do the 14th, that would be great.
Okay.
We'll send you the revised budget, and we'll keep that going. Lastly, I think as we get closer, we'll want to talk about scheduling a joint
Joint
meeting
sessions.
and further with the Board of Selectmen on the budget as it shapes up. So in the interest of time, I appreciate it,
Thank you.
gentlemen, and have a good night.
All right, thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Yep.
All right, so the only other budget thing for tonight, or general budget, is I want to just kind of walk everyone through the revenue. Extra copies in case anyone wants them. So this is the revenue page from the model. It's kind of basically the format that Ms. Gabri pulls it together for us. And what you'll see is on the left side is the estimates that are put forth for revenue as they stand right now for FY19. Middle column is FY 2018. That's what we ended last year with on our estimations for the budget. And then the right side is just the movement from FY 18 to 19. The other thing which I did send out today was 5 years ago, Mr. Hogan, the town assessor, put together a presentation for the Finance Committee and walked us through how the tax levy works. So I forwarded that out to you because it really doesn't work any way like you would think, to be honest. So we'll just take a quick walk through. State aid is level funded because it's not finalized until the budget is finalized in the legislature. So on the property tax base, you see a $1.5 million increase. Part of what fluctuates with that is the home valuation. So they redid the valuations around most of the town, and a lot of the values have gone up. So therefore, our tax levy goes up with it. Regardless of what we assign to spend, it just increases due to just home valuations increasing. Statutory increase, which is the Prop 2.5%, adds 37,000, or sorry, it adds 532, but which is $37,000 more increase than the year before. New growth, so we've been running new growth very, very high through FY18 because of a lot of the new construction that we've had in town. That will start to come down as new houses themselves will start diminishing, but their new growth is also anything like people do additions to their house, that adds value to it, renovations at businesses, etc. That all adds to the valuation of the property.
Cambry is in the process right now of finishing phase 4, which is going to be 36 new homes.
Yeah,
So that's significant new growth.
yeah, and we've been riding
On the order
that.
of $500,000.
Been riding that wave since 09.
Yeah.
09 or 10.
Well, the shore is coming into vision.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And that's one of the things over the last 2 or 3 years when we've really talked about sustainability, is knowing that the growth numbers that we've been seeing, that when we're adding over 500,000 of growth to the bottom line every year, at some point the well's going to run dry.
Yeah.
And we'll still have some growth, but it just won't be to the level that we've been seeing. And that is part of what has really helped our financial position over the last couple of years.
Couple brand new schools, maybe people move here and build new homes.
I like your thinking.
Or buy the new homes that are being built.
That'd be a good start, yeah.
So if there's any of the phrases here that anyone wants any further information on or an explanation, let me know as we go through it. Unused levy capacity, so that is the presentation I sent you shows what the formula is to figure out what the tax levy is. So the tax levy basically takes all your valuation in your home and then you set the tax rate to that, and that's how much you can charge for taxes. And that grows. There's a formula that is separate from what we actually tax. So every year that levy capacity grows by the 2.5%. However, what we have actually on the books also grows 2.5%. That's that other piece. So what we don't charge out in taxes is that unused levy
Right, it's the
capacity.
offset between them.
Correct.
Yeah.
So right now we have about 1.7 million that we could be taxing per year that we're not taxing per year.
Why don't we?
Because we don't charge up to 100% of the levy claim availability that the state allows us. We're at about 98% of the levy availability. The levy availability is a percentage of the total assessed valuation of the town. You can tax up to 100% of that levy amount. Ayer chooses not to do that. Most towns are not at 100%, but they are at over 98. We're over 98. So this is the delta between what we could charge by state law
Right.
and what we actually choose to charge.
1.7 million is a lot more than 2% of 22.8 million.
Yes, it is.
So we're not charging 98%.
Hold on, I'll get the percentage.
It's I don't
Like
know.
21 million out of 22.8 million.
It's actually about 980 million is the assessed valuation of the town.
So
Yeah,
it's
totally.
7%.
Yeah.
The 1.7 is 7% of
22.8.
yeah.
So we're charging like 93%.
Well, a little higher because you got to actually add those two together and then take the 1.7 of that. But part of the reason why we don't do that to the full extent is the way that everything comes together. So this is a rough estimate. Like some of the numbers we absolutely know, but the growth number is different. Is a shot in the dark. Personal property, local receipts is a shot in the dark. So what can happen is when we when we build our budget using these estimated numbers, we put our expenses to that. What we allocate for expenses in spring town meeting, and then if we do anything at fall town meeting, that actually moves on to set what the tax rate is at the end of the year for the tax hearing, which sets the tax rate. It's kind of convoluted because our fiscal year is, July to June, but then the tax year is calendar. So because there's some kind of interdependency upon a guess, an educated guess, we can end up where situations where what we've allocated, so we don't have to do the full capacity because we're not actually spending the full capacity. The caution in that number growing, though, is that at any point in time is you could have a tax hearing where things were in dire straits or someone just wanted, a board of selectmen wanted to do it, they could say, we're going to tax to the full levy, and they could move that without any input from town meeting.
Yeah.
So it's there for the taking if they want to, if they need to, but it's not necessary.
I can go back because I went to a seminar in May on this, and what I can do is I can get you the information from that seminar that explains exactly what the levies are and how it's calculated and all that kind of stuff, and I'll email it to you.
Sure.
It is the most convoluted
Yes.
process
Send that to
of
me.
revenue
Yeah, sure.
that I've ever seen, to be honest. And I thought I had a decent understanding until Mr. Hogan came and gave us his presentation. And then I think we were a board of 5, and I think 4 of us were just like, yeah, that's nothing like what I thought.
different?
So our total tax revenue is just a shade under 22 million for the year. Then we have what our debt exclusion override. So the top line, the 877,909, is what we're getting outside of the school. So that those are things like the fire station, the renovation of town hall, any of the other various items, large items we bought on exclusion.
Yeah, so that does not play into the property tax and
No.
the percent that we're allowed to tax and everything like that.
So it's so on the top part for the property tax, you get the valuation, you get a tax rate on that. For the debt exclusions, it's additional to that tax rate. So say the tax rate rounded up, say that it was 10. We're doing 10 per thousand, but we had a debt exclusion that was 50 cents per thousand. That 50 cents just gets added on, and it's shown in that debt exclusion override line.
So if we added like $1 million per year for a new school, it wouldn't take up $1 million of that unused tax levy. It would be
down in the debt exclusion.
Yeah. Well, it's like this, the fields that we talked about last
right.
night.
This is why I'm
That would
curious.
be in addition to the debt exclusion, and that number would go up.
Correct.
Should that be voted in?
Yeah, and things are coming off on the debt exclusion
The police
also.
building is coming off.
Yeah.
Right.
So the
These things,
first
we
year
don't have to worry about them taking up unused levy.
But it'd be
capacity.
nice
Correct.
to not put things on and give the
No, they can't
taxpayers a
touch
break.
it.
Yeah, it is the only caution I have with something like that though. So if just go with a scenario where say the fields don't occur. So I think it's on the average tax bill for the average home, I think it's like $140 coming off, which is actually a pretty good amount on your tax bill. But then say 2 years go by and we do a debt exclusion, whether it's for something for the school, something for the town, then it jumps back up.
Yeah,
Then people are like,
didn't
why
plan
is my
for
tax
it.
bill going
Yeah.
up? So smooth and steady is kind of where we want to try to be.
So we can't put temporary debt exclusions on there just to get us to a time when we do have a big.
No, you can't. There's one. It's
I
not
like
a
the
debt.
idea though.
Sounds
There's one.
very legal.
So there's a debt exclusion. There's another one where it's just a one-time charge on your taxes, and we tried that a couple of times. I was on the forefront for both of those, and they failed miserably because people didn't understand that it was only a one-time. So we were looking to spend, I think it was around $700,000 on. It was a handful of things like capital. We had too much capital, so they wanted to do it once, and basically it's very much like a debt exclusion where it's a capital exclusion, not debt exclusion. Debt exclusions, the capital exclusions, the 1 year. So it's also go through town meetings, it's also go through the ballot box, and then it's just one time. So it's a one-time purchase, and then you get that one charge on your bill for once. The debt exclusion overrides go out longer, so they have a longer impact. But we're trying to do the one time. So that's another option that's always available.
Right.
It's very hard for people to kind of understand that it's just that one tax year that they're going to be charged for. So it always passed town meeting, and it always failed at the ballot box.
I was just thinking about it regarding like if I was going to go buy a new car and I just finished paying off my old car, I'm going to save up like another year or two of that usual car payment and just put it aside for when I buy a new car. So if we have stuff coming off the debt exclusion base, can we save up money for a year or two until the school plan is in effect, and then boom, we've got savings?
No, because we're a cash-based business.
Right.
So
That's
that would
why.
be the individuals that contribute would have to do that, but the town can't.
Yeah. As
Because the
close
town
as we
doesn't
can
pay
come
for
is
debt.
We can't save up in
the
preparation.
closest we can come is to put money into stabilization, which we've
Right, so
done.
can we
a
raise
lot-
stabilization if things are coming off debt exclusion to plan ahead for a large
But we
capital
can't.
purchase?
So stabilization, we fund with whatever's left over in the budget. So when we go through and so in 2 weeks we'll have our first full look. I'll get the updated budgets. We'll have our first full look at the budget with revenue numbers. So with the free cash, whatever we expend out on the operating, and then we have our assessments. Any one-time purchases out of the free cash, usually we'll have a couple $300,000, $400,000 left over. That will put into stabilization, and that goes aside, and you allocate a portion of that as capital and a portion of that is just regular stabilization. So that's kind of our savings that we have as the stabilization account.
Right.
So
I'm
what
just
you're
wondering if
thinking is if
if we don't come up with any other debt exclusion, right? They don't pass the school
If the- yeah,
fields
the
projects
fields-
or anything, right? And there's
it'll-
just a bunch of money coming off, and we're going to save money on our tax bills this year.
Yeah.
As
Should we
individuals.
recommend increasing or decreasing the unused levy capacity to increase everyone's taxes for a year to counteract the
But
money that's coming
for the
off,
purposes
so
So
that
we're
everyone
gonna
is
have-
kind of level funded in terms of
Yeah,
what they're
so
paying?
the impact of that is then we're going to have more revenue coming in.
Right.
And I don't know if we can because I would think we need a justification for that.
I don't think the DOR would let us.
I don't think it would either. But anyway, so it would just be
So,
additional
yeah, is there
revenue coming in,
rules
which would
regarding
then
how much
push more free
stabilization-
cash.
Yeah,
And I think people would rather just have the savings for the 1 year or two.
and then
I
we're all
mean,
going
it
to
would
complain
be-
that we can't afford a new school
I mean,
because
it
of
would
Everyone
be
complains
nice
anyway.
If the debt exclusion could be carried forward a couple of years after the bond is paid off, and the monies that are collected through the debt exclusion tax increase go into the savings, as you're suggesting, but I don't think that.
There's gotta be a way to
No,
do
you
it.
can't do that.
There's got to be a way for towns to save up prior to large capital purchases to lessen the burden.
Stabilization is it. That's the only mechanism we have.
And that's why we did bonds to buy stuff.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, the cost of
Money is
borrowing,
cheap.
right? Yeah, money's so inexpensive right now.
I like you making.
Yeah.
Our problem
I mean, it makes
on this
sense.
committee for the last 4 or 5 months has been how are we going to pay for fields and a new elementary school at the same time. So I feel like that's an avenue we need to look at. I mean, you're saying it's impossible, so maybe not, but
No, it's not.
trying to
So-
figure out how to lessen the burden of paying for those two things at the same time.
So that's where you manage the debt exclusions. So with time, from a timing perspective. So
So in that case, we should definitely recommend the fields update because we need to pay for this sooner so that when the schools come later, they overlap for fewer years.
let's see what they say about the schools first.
Right? But like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
You're saying we need to plan ahead on debt
I
exclusion,
understand
so
what you're saying.
Yeah.
get
No,
some
but-
stuff on the books.
So there is a schedule that has each of the debt exclusions going out. You know when they end. Like so, you get the cumulative debt exclusion per year.
They're not
And
the only capital items in town.
No,
We
they're
know
just
that one.
the ones we're talking about.
There's plenty of other ones that
Mhm.
need to be done that have been pushed
Well,
aside.
and the one that Mark was mentioning about the well, just, I don't know, I've sent the information around to you guys, but that's a $5 million hit. That would be a debt exclusion. That We'd have no choice. And the EPA
Yeah.
says, you gotta do this, and you gotta do it now,
Right.
then we gotta do it now. And we try to recover the money from the Army and the EPA and whatever eventually, but it comes out of our pocket, yours and mine and yours.
yeah, the financial policies has the breakdown for borrowing or capital purchases. So there's dollar thresholds. It's anything over 500,000, 250,000 has to be borrowed. Is it
Yeah.
borrowed? Yeah, it has to be borrowed. And anything over like 500,000
All of it?
has to be a debt exclusion.
All of it has to be borrowed. Can't use any of free cash or stabilization.
We could.
or-
I mean, you can split your funding source if you want, but I mean, bond interest prices are so low right now. I think they're like 1.5% on bonds.
It's really low.
Yeah. So if you can borrow 1.5%,
also
Yeah.
borrow and then pay off the borrowing with the
well, there's two
stabilization
different
funds
kinds.
rather than taking
yeah,
it
so
from
there's
the
two
people.
different kinds of borrowing. So there's
That's what you want to do.
there's stuff that is paid for on capital that doesn't qualify for the debt for a debt exclusion. Those we still borrow for, and that's the line for interest and principal you see in the operating budget. So that's actually been in decline over the last couple of years. It's at least I think it's stabilized for this year. Anything over the 500,000 has to be a debt exclusion, which means that it's because that becomes a 10-year borrow, and it just has to go on over because you can't eat up that much of your operating budget or jack up your operating budget that much.
For example, the new $300,000 ambulance will be a borrow on a 5-year note.
But if we really needed to, because we didn't want to push the tax base higher or put another debt exclusion on, we could pay for it with funds we already have,
We
but
could,
still
yeah.
borrow.
We could
Oh, we
do
could,
that.
yes.
But
Well,
Lisa
why do you wanna use
doesn't,
up all the
Lisa
money?
doesn't
Never know
want
when
to
it's
use
gonna
up that
happen.
much cash.
Yeah.
She'd
But if
put it
people
in a
are,
5-year borrow.
if
Money
you're already
so
at a high level, you've already used up a lot of debt exclusions, you've got it all tacked on, then we could pay for it and not add another debt exclusion to the
We
budget.
have the free cash to just go out and buy the ambulance if
Yeah.
we wanted. But Lisa
We did that.
suggests that we don't do that.
Yeah, we did that with the fire. Was it the fire truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, last year, the year before,
I could pay off
And
my
we-
car right now. but
and
I'm
we
not going
got
to.
some flack for it. Yeah. We got some flack for it because it's just not smart money. I mean,
Right.
if interest was like 10% on a bond, then we would have been paying 10%. Then that's, if we're in that position, maybe you look at doing that. However, it's cheap enough to borrow. It's minimal impact on the operating budget. So you approach it that way. Okay.
You got the wheels turning.
All right. Good.
I'm gonna have to do research to find my own answers.
All right. So
You're
our,
on vacation, so you might as well, right?
all right, so we just went through the debt exclusions. So the school debt exclusion, the 984,707. So that includes charge that we're paying for the middle school debt that Shirley has. So we're paying, I think it's about 10 years on that to help them pay that off. Local receipts, that's everything from fire alarm permits, building permits, excise tax, meals tax does go in there, yes. And just like any of the little fees that you pay around town. SBA reimbursement, should say final is 2020 is the final year. I think that's School Building Association. Capital stabilization, so we have pulled $155,000 from that last year. Free cash, certified free cash is $1,083,562. So we've been running $1 million plus the last 4 years, 3-4 years, which is a good problem to have, but is kind of a problem from a public perception. Everyone understand how free cash comes about?
Taking in more money than we spend.
Yeah, because again, well, in part of it is those. This is estimate. This is estimates,
Right.
and the budget itself is an estimate
Right.
also. Overlay surplus, I forget what that is. It's in Tom's.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's in Tom's presentation. So total operating revenues of 28 million. Then when the cherry sheets come out, we also get charges from them. So our charges on the cherry sheet is 94,000. So that's things such as MBTA for the trains, something for MART. We get charged, and there's something else for DOT. The overlay account, we get charged $300,000 a year, and I don't remember specifically. I don't think that number has moved much in the last 10 years. Then the appropriation deficit. So the estimated snow overspend is 130,000. So we're able to deficit spend on snow, which means we set a budget. We can blow past it however much we need to. So it's designed that way so that it doesn't kill the operating budget, but it also gives us the ability to still clear the roads if we do run out of money. Last year, you can see if you look over last year, there was 2 items last year. There was the McNiff farm cleanup and the snow overspend. So what happens is when we do deficit spend is it comes out of the tax levy the very next fiscal year. So it comes out of our revenue numbers. So total revenue for appropriation on the first pass is 27.5 million. That's including free cash. It's a $1.1 million increase, and that's a 4.38 increase over last year. If we take out free cash, it's 26,000,004, increase of 860,000, or an increase of 3.26%. Any questions?
No, it's a good place to start from.
So this will fluctuate, and then generally, as we get closer to the end of March, we should have final numbers, with the exception of the state budget, because the state budget doesn't get approved until June at the earliest. So all of our money from the state, and even the Chapter 70 and some of the Chapter 90 stuff will be in flux till that's finalized. All right. Anything else on the budget? So next meeting, 2 weeks from now, we'll have a full look at kind of the revenue with the operating expenses. Hopefully we'll have the updates from the departments that as they put theirs in. I'll get the budget updated and get that out early to everyone so you can review, and then we'll just kind of do a quick walkthrough in 2 weeks. Next item is discussions around last night, Ayer Shirley Regional School District budget and the field proposal. So just wanted a chance to regroup if there's any additional questions or commentary. The budget itself I thought was in line with what I expected, actually a little bit better than what I expected. If you look at the history of the regional district, they've trended 6.5, 5.5, 4.5, 4.5, 4. So now we're at 3.1 and 3.5 over last year, which is actually a pretty good place. And I'll say 3 kids at the high school and the programs. You've seen a lot of good changes in the programs, and Chris, you can vouch for that since regionalization.
They did a great job last night. Dr. Malone and Mr. Plunkett put a great presentation on it. Digested about 80% of it. I've been chipping away through it, and they've done a great job with it. I think they give you a good bang for your buck.
That's a good way
The
to put
only
it.
curiosity again is the special education students and how everything else trends commonly, but that one specific thing is just stuck in my head.
So
where
Small sample
the number
size.
some of the
students
things,
has gone down by 33%.
yeah, but some of the things that they do IEPs for are things that kids will grow out of.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of the things, like she said, the services that were offered in the IEP were modified and not doing a lot of the specialty things that they were for. I know they have to, you look at an IEP, I believe every year, you go back and assess the IEP.
Yeah.
So maybe there was some fat that could have been cut out and maybe she combined some things. It seemed like a lot of the programs that she was talking about, she was combining and removing. And
I think what she's doing is bringing that whole process in line with the way the state does it. That's why the numbers are starting to correlate with the state. And previously, they were done however they were done, and they didn't correlate with the state process.
Well, some of it has been invested in. Last year or the year before, they invested in about $100,000 in it's a specialized room. I think was a room for like therapy for kids who have sensitivity issues, because kids with sensitivity issues, they need to kind of work out their the sensitivity. I don't really know how to phrase it, but they've taken more in house than they have in the past, which helps bring the IEPs down also.
Sure. I mean, I agree with you, Chris. I thought they did a really good job of putting it together.
Yep.
There's just that one anomaly was
One
so
question.
significant.
Yeah.
That, but I thought she answered it fine. I don't have any issues with
Okay.
it. It's just,
like I said, I think the bang for your buck is damn good.
I agree.
So
I think it's too bad that the rating of the high school is so low relative to others. Because today I was looking at Realtor.com and some of the other websites just to get a sense of how the schools are rated. And that high school is rated at a 5. And if you go to Broughton Dunstable, it's 8. And if you go to Concord, it's rated 9. And I'd like to know what the differences are and how they do the rating. But that has nothing to do with our conversation here.
Yeah, not sure.
Well, so we
Programs
got
and-
ranked 78th in the state last year, I think it was, which was the first time we broke the top 100 in the rankings. I mean, granted, I think Broughton Dunstable's in the top 10,
Yeah.
and Harvard's I think like 3 or 4.
Right. Concord is like.
Yeah.
competing with Concord's a waste of time.
But I think they brought a lot of AP classes in, and Brian Haas, a lot of credit to him. He was the former principal up there at the high school. He started a lot of that, those programs, and they've really come along. And Ms. Capasso, that was here last night, she does a lot of that also, and they do a great job.
Frankly, I think if we can get that number up, that will bring in more students and more investment in the town than anything to do with athletic fields would ever do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just.
I mean, the athletic fields are overdue, and like my big sticking point is more just the elementary school, and I'd be happy to support doing both projects at the same time, or tandem right one back on the
My
other.
one question, and I'll save it maybe for another forum, that we were charged in the building committee to do the best job that we did, and we had to be mindful for the taxpayers. So, you know, I understand we had conversation that night, there were several models, you know, and I understand that this was the top of the line model that they chose. Well, you know, I know they want to do it all in one shot, but, you know, well, the middle line model would certainly work.
Yeah.
You know,
I would choose a top line model. So at this point, we'll see what the people.
but we
We'll
didn't
see the
choose the
report.
top line model until we made the cuts back when we were in the building committee and we built
Right.
that school. We had to make several cuts because, you know, we would be mindful for the taxpayers and mindful for our neighbors to the west that, you know, also.
Yeah, so I was on the this committee when we did the regionalization. We looked at it, we ran the numbers and everything, and the only negative that we had was that it was with Shirley from a financial perspective, and it's reared its ugly head time and time again. With the initial high school project, they had to do a lot of cuts, you know,
and it
which
was-
is why
it
the
was
fields
half
weren't
that Shirley
included.
wouldn't go for that. Shirley wouldn't go for
Yeah,
that.
and Shirley even fought us on the tennis courts being redone afterwards because, well, that sits in air. You know, we're not going to pay for that.
Mhm.
The other thing, so the other part of the regionalization is there was this whole, when you analyzed what the two towns were paying for education costs, Shirley was paying well below what the state required formula was supposed to be. And if you ever want to go through the formula, I think I have something somewhere that actually walks you through it for the Chapter 70 formula. So the state basically looks at certain valuations in town, in each community, and says this is how much you should be spending on education. And it's nothing against Shirley because a lot of towns aren't where they should be. It's just some are disproportionately lower than the other towns. Ayer has always been, I think, slightly above where we should have been. And just the way Shirley's calculation and they're paying what they're charged from Department of Education. So I want to stress, it's nothing against the town of Shirley, the people of Shirley. It's just what they were told by the Department of Education to spend. It just happened to be below what their factor should be. So when we looked at regionalization, they said, okay, in order to bring your things equal so that we can do an assessment based upon foundation enrollment, Shirley couldn't afford coming up to where they were supposed to
Be a
be.
big jump.
Yeah, so they did this calculation where it was called a hold harmless. So when Ayer would pay a proportionally higher percentage, or Ayer would pay its normal calculation for Department of Education, but then Shirley wouldn't pay their full amount. They would pay a small. They get their bump up, but then they would pay an additional $100,000, and we'd take $100,000 off the assessment from Ayer. So it's just kind of like transferring the funds, but it was only $100,000 that was being added to Shirley each year, and that kind of got them up to where they were supposed to be in the first 5 years. So there was discussion towards the end of that where they wanted to change. There was some grumblings about changing the funding mechanism and the agreement because we're in a better financial position. They were looking at that. So I did an analysis on what that whole harmless actually did to the program, and it actually stripped about $2 million out of the funding over 5 years because of the impact of not raising Shirley to where they should have been.
I mean, it's pretty, this is the regionalization tax. It's the town warrant from 2010, and it clearly spells out that 5 year, as you said, it's interesting.
It was like this magical number that they kept throwing out, and I think on this committee we didn't get I think we had George Frost, who was the acting superintendent at the time. He came back to us like 3 or 4 times because we just couldn't wrap our hands around. Like, all right, so walk us through this again. So the point is like that we had to do because of Shirley's financial situation. Now we're at the fields, and I kind of agree with you. You know, it's a great time to do the fields. I mean, even if it is the top one, I think it's worthwhile. I mean, we have 50% student athletes up there.
It's a lot.
Exactly. So I think it's worth doing, but it's just kind of still this feeling, and even the comments where the Shirley Board of Selectmen were asking if they could use more of their E&D for the operating budget, kind of gets back to, come on, let's figure this out. So, we're not, we can have the education that our community wants versus the one that Shirley can afford. And that's more my concerns around the elementary school, because I don't want the school committee to approach doing a dual elementary school without consent of the citizens of Ayer, because, well, it'll pass, it's all Shirley can afford. Like, we're paying.
Oh, it's pretty spelled out in here. It says that each town shall have
Exactly.
the primary school in their own town. It's pretty spelled out, so they have to revisit that. This is clearly stated in the warrant. But
Well, we can't hook the fields to the schools, because the fields are under the governance of the regional process that's in place, whereas the individual schools are.
If we're going to do an individual.
The elementary
Yeah.
schools
Separate.
are there by the
We have
towns.
to amend the whole thing, right?
That's right.
And
They have to go back and revisit
Yeah.
the regionalization pact.
Which my fear is then it opens up the regionalization packet, and then they can try and change the funding
Well, you
allocation.
have to ask yourself, okay, if we look at Ayer, we look
Say no.
at Shirley, which town is gonna be more likely to have a growth of new families that are gonna take advantage of elementary schools and so on?
Shirley's got more land.
Yeah, but we got more building.
It doesn't matter. So my parents live in Maine. They're in southern Maine. They have a regional school district. And so the town that they're in has higher home values or property values, but it's much smaller. The town that they're in the regionalization agreement with, back when it was put together, I think it was in the late 70s when they regionalized, the town that they went in with was, kind of poor. I mean, they didn't have a lot of growth or anything. So over the last 40 years, the town that my parents live in has really controlled their growth, because they don't want to be this big bustling metropolis. They want to stay small. Well, the other town has shot through. And because of the way that they set up the agreement is the town my parents live in pays 75% of the education cost for the regional school district, but they only have about 35% of the students.
That's everybody.
And that's really the situation that, is what we have to be cautious of. With our growth, if we're, say, like right now we're around 60%, if we grow to 70% of the student population, then fine. It's still, we can still afford it. The concern is, if they say, all right, Ayer's going to pay, their foundation plus, an extra, say, 20%, and then Shirley pays the rest, well, all of a sudden if Shirley shoots up, then, it's just disproportionate.
And they do have a lot more land to build on than we do.
Yeah.
We're kind of running out of it.
Yeah, we're almost at total build out.
Yep.
Actually, last year, someone said someone in the state thinks we're going to be the first town to be fully built out
Wow.
in the state.
Only place to go is up.
Oh yeah, think levels. Let's go levels.
That's it.
Apartments over Main
But
Street.
I think bottom line, and I'll say it again, there certainly is a need for it.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you, Scott. It's just the question, and, they answered that last night. They'll be, they're doing the study and show what happens in the study, but, we're already a year behind. This Fields Committee was formed last January, and so they've been working a year where, I don't think the Page Hilltop has gotten any better in a year.
No, it hasn't. I know one of the comments that came from one of the Board of Selectmen meetings about a month and a half ago was regarding the status of Page Hilltop is because the regional school districts rent the buildings from the town. So the question was, well, can we force them to do repairs to it?
And I saw that, they watched that one.
Yeah, so hopefully they won't just let it fall apart, but it is rough. I mean, when you have the comparison of a new high school next door, and even if you go over into Shirley, the middle school's 12 years old now. So you compare the 12-year-old middle school to a 60-year-old elementary school. There's still that disparity between, how new the facilities are and what the education environment is. And HVA systems work differently in each of the buildings. So it's just a different experience when you go from the primary school to the secondary schools. And it should be more level across the board.
They strive in the 21st century learning.
Exactly.
But, nothing, Fred Deppie does a great job up there with the program that, what he has to work with and his staff. I commend them. They do a great job up there. So
They do.
it's an interesting place.
Yes.
And I'm very, can't wait to see the study and see what that turns out. And I think after that, we can, form what's going on.
Yep.
Make an informed decision.
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent.
Yep.
Anything else on the schools?
I think we've.
We beat the dead horse enough. Okay.
Great.
Excellent.
Greg,
I think I've heard
Greg
it
rolls
more
his
than.
eyes as soon as he says schools.
Like, I'll pay for all of it. The school, the field, myself, if we can just never talk about it again.
The dead horse called, said, "Stop beating me." All right. I printed out just one copy. This is the working draft of the revenue. If anyone wants to take a look at it, it just goes back a few more years from what I brought tonight. We have no old business, so mail. We have our mosquito control project assessment. They'll put into the budget, and then we have a new beacon with Governor Baker submits his FY19 budget bill, and Hawk and Allen to lead MMA. Exciting. That's up for grabs if anyone wants.
See something about mosquito sometime?
Mosquito control project. So this is actually our assessment for the year. At least so I've been told.
Just to make sure we have enough mosquitoes.
No, they do the control. So our assessment is 29,057.
So that's the state vector control that manages the mosquitoes.
Central Mass, yeah.
Can we not pay them if they don't do their jobs well?
No, the other thing, I'm not sure if you guys know, my wife heard about this, is you can actually call them, they'll come spray
You
your
call them and
backyard.
they come and spray. We've done that. They came right around to the side of the garage, and actually the gate
Yeah.
was open, and they backed in a little bit and sprayed the backyard.
For free?
They will. Yep.
Yeah,
You call
for
up.
free.
Write
Just
that down.
when they come on, you can do it all online. There's an online. You can do it email wise.
www.mosquito.me.
They have those little black trucks with a big fogger.
I did it myself last year, and you gotta squeeze the trigger a bunch of times. It's a huge pain.
No, they'll come out and do it.
All right, so moving on, minutes, 24th, anything?
Minutes.
For
I
January 24th?
have minutes. For
You have
some
minutes.
days. I can't promise it's January 24th.
Okay.
I think so. I think I can. And another one. Yeah, December 13th as well.
13th.
There's December 13th. January 24th.
All right, so the 13th was the one I missed, so you three need to do that one.
Yeah.
I had the signature for the 13th. All right, there's a top. So, Chris, I'll hand that to you.
And then, I don't know, do you want the ones we already signed into existence when you weren't here?
Yeah, if we have ones that are signed and dated, I will take those, get those to the clerk.
Yep.
It's amazing how paper intensive we still are. All right, so we have the 13th. Well, we haven't voted yet.
No, we haven't.
What's the date on that one, Chris?
This one
24.
is the January 24th,
Okay.
2018. Pat can't
I
sign
can't
that
sign it 'cause I
one.
wasn't
Pat
there.
wasn't here.
Okay.
New York City.
All right, so we'll do the 24th first. So I will take a motion to approve minutes for January 24th as presented.
Second that.
I need a motion.
I'm sorry. I always second Pat. I make a motion to accept the minutes for the January 24th, 2018 meeting as presented.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. For the 13th, I'm going to hand it over to Pat.
You can still take the motion.
You
Just
you don't need, you.
we just are the only ones that can make the motion.
He already signed it, even though we haven't.
What's this one for? Oh, yeah. So I will move to accept the minutes from December 13, 2017.
I will second that.
All right.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Since you weren't
You
there,
can still
Yeah,
run
it
the
was there,
vote.
I
You just
can't
can't say
do
aye.
You gotta
All right.
sign it too, but.
Yeah. I'll do it. December. Who seconded that?
Pat seconded.
I second.
That was the second.
There you go, sir.
That goes back to Greg for his signature.
Yep. Sign this one too. Sign both. Sign both of these copies. All right, so that's done.
All right. All right, upcoming business. So next meeting on the 28th, we have police department, and then Mr. Pomfrian said he'll be at each of our meetings over the next couple months as we go through the budget process. I'll coordinate with him. We were going to have him go through his administration budget, but if he needs additional time, we can reschedule that for
To
the
the
14th. To the 14th, since that's an open night now. And then library is on March 28th. We're still trying to figure out how to approach that one.
Isn't there questions with that one?
Yeah, the questions around salaries, but
Yeah.
it's kind of this gray area because they're kind of they're a pseudo entity. You know, they
Yeah.
still, you know, so we're trying to figure out how to.
This is a
Hold
library
them.
commissioners and all. And
Yeah, so the trustees, I know,
Trustees.
yeah, I saw the board of trustees met, I think Monday night to, you know, on their agenda was, you know, to see who was gonna come to the finance committee. So I don't know if they're
Who
drawing
threw the
straws.
Throw them to the wall.
Throw somebody to the wolves.
Committee updates, nothing new on capital?
No, the only thing on capital is what Mark was saying is, if the EPA does in fact come out and say that we have to clean up the water from the particular well that's currently in violation, then the capital committee will get together and, it looks like it'll be about a $5 million debt exclusion.
Okay.
It needs
It's
to be done.
unavoidable.
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
do anything about it.
I think if that does come to pass, I think one of the downstream effects of it, or a knock-on effect, will be the schools and the athletic fields, because it's going to be a debt exclusion. It's going to be an
It's
increase in
good.
taxes. So
So it'll sit, so the enterprise funds all kind of, do you guys know how enterprise funds work? They're kind of their own little
yes,
world.
Yeah.
So for like the debt exclusion on that, it all stays within the water enterprise fund, even on a debt exclusion. So it impacts your water rate. So we're only going to be
Yeah.
paying more for water and sewer for that.
It's an assessment.
It is, yes, it is. Either way, we're paying for it.
You
It
gotta
just
pay
depends
for
on
it
where it
somewhere,
goes.
Right?
Yeah.
Somehow, somewhere. Yeah.
All right, executive buy board. So we've been trying to get together for a while. Actually, it's one of the reasons why Robert's been coming to our meetings because I don't have time. So I'll admit that. My life has been chaotic over the last couple months. So everything that, like, I've met with Robert one off here and there, you know, but it's just been him and I, and everything that we talked, like I met with him last night, everything he talked to me about last night, we talked about tonight. So the information flow is still there, and if anything comes my way, I'll definitely pass it on to you guys.
So what is the buy board and who's on it? You
So
and
the buy
Robert.
board is made up of the town administrator, the chairman and vice chairman of the finance committee, the town accountant attends, and then the board of selectmen have one representative. So way back when, before regionalization, it used to be the tri-board, so it used to be members of the school committee, members of the school committee, the finance committee, and the board of selectmen would get together. And it was, initially it was more than just budget, it was kind of like a general, it was, you know, we met a lot during the budget, but there were other meetings off season where we talked about other things, and then once the schools regionalized, you know, they're kind of out of the picture, so became the buy board, and it's more just it's been a good vehicle over the last few years to align kind of the thoughts on the finance committee with the thoughts on the board of selectmen when it comes to the budget and things that are down the road that we have to pay for. And other than like last year, we had the discrepancy over the town planner, which I think was more because we didn't have quorum at all before. I think 2 weeks before town meeting, we finally got quorum. The year before that, we had a little bit of a disagreement on the funds, but on the budget. But for the most part, I mean, the two bodies have aligned in our recommendations, and the buy board's been a big help with that. So it's a little more of it's a posted meeting, but it's more informal. We usually meet early morning or late afternoon. So it's just a good communication
Is
for
that
it.
a meeting that I should attend at some point?
We haven't had one since you've
Oh,
become.
okay.
So my apologies, and
That's all right.
it's been my fault.
I don't mind not having a meeting, that's why I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
No, I will let you know. I was actually trying to schedule an actual buy board meeting yesterday, but Lisa wasn't available. So Robert said he had just a couple of things that he wanted to check on. So, all right. So I'll open it up to Finance Committee Roundtable. I'll go first. So I pulled papers for Board of Selectmen last night.
Why?
It's a handful of reasons, but overall, it's for me, it's time. There's a lot of frustrations over the last couple of years. You guys are doing great.
Sick of us.
What's that?
You're sick of us already.
No, I just need.
You
I
do
don't
a
know,
good
just
job,
got
Scott.
You will
Thank
make
you.
it in April.
I know what some of your frustrations have been,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
In actually, so I sent a note to the moderator this morning, just an email to let him know I pulled papers. And when I described it to him, because I was trying to figure out how to describe it in a non-negative manner. And for me, I just kind of need a change of scenery to revitalize my gusto for this, because I don't really have it anymore. I'm like burnt out doing this. The last few years have been. So I need a little change of scenery, and we'll see.
Makes
You never
sense.
know. I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion. So
Are we supposed to have gusto?
yes, we
I
are.
missed that memo.
Gusto galore.
I'll have to
No,
find some.
it's I've been on this. I've been doing this for 8.5, almost 9 years now. So it's something I kind of did because there was a need. I mean, it's something that was always on my radar, but I always expected. I think it was more like at this point when the kids were in high school, I'd be looking to do it. But back then there was a need. They lost tons of members, so I stepped up, and over the 8 years, we've accomplished some really great things through this committee, working with some of the other boards and committees and the employees and everything. And I think there's a little more I can do. There's a lot more I want to do, but I just can't seem to get the drive to do it in this seat. So. It's not a foregone conclusion. It's just going on the ballot. We'll see how it goes. I know Greg's going to try and sabotage my
I'm gonna have
candidacy.
to run against you just to split the vote.
Go for it.
Well,
So,
Gary's doing that.
Hmm?
Gary Lucas is doing that.
Doing what?
He's pulled his papers.
Right, exactly. So if I run,
There's a
Three
three-way
of
split.
you.
right, no,
next,
no. But theoretically, there'll be like
Michael
people
Patton
that
pulled papers
there'll be
also.
people
but
that
he
want the
hasn't-
status
hasn't returned
quo
them yet.
and people that will want
Who
something
else?
new,
Who
and
else?
we'll split
Mike
the
Patton.
something new vote.
4 of you.
Could be. Yeah. I'd welcome the
Last year,
challenge.
there was Janice running unopposed.
Yeah.
I still know like 6 people that live in this town, so I've got a ways to go. And you are 3 of the 6 people.
Oh, I feel honored. Thank you.
My wife, my friend that moved here after we moved here, and I guess Robert. I know Robert.
Robert lives in Fitchburg.
Oh. Mary lives here, right?
Mary lives here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mary's,
There you go.
Mary is,
6.
he's into Eric.
There he is there.
Yes.
Yep. Go to Calvin's Palace, it's usually full of errors.
Yes. All right. So I do want to say, like I said, it's not a foregone conclusion,
So this is not your
and
goodbye. We don't need a goodbye speech.
no, it's
Not
not.
yet.
It's not
That's not my
goodbye
point.
because in the event that I do move on to the selectmen, it will be at the end of the budget cycle. I think it's at the tail end when things go to print. So hopefully the budget will be all buttoned up, but I will still plan on attending from there, the first meetings to kind of get you guys through July. Because once we as a committee get through the budget, then we also have we get into reserve fund transfer season and all that good stuff. So
Put the help wanted sign out.
Yeah, exactly.
I put the help wanted sign
know,
out for
many
a
years.
couple of years, and it took a
No
while to
takers.
find 3 suckers to show up. Oh, sorry.
Jan just came and found me at work. That's how that happened.
I know, and I thank her for it. Anything else from open up to the members? Anything else you guys want to bring up?
So, that might as well be the time. I will be gone from May 7th to June 21st.
The training in
Yeah.
Alabama, right?
Yes. So, again, seems to be whenever the budget cycle rolls around to town meeting, I'm gone in May. So,
All right, town meeting I think it's the second.
April.
No, May.
May.
May last
No,
year.
it's always the second. May
something.
14th.
May 14th.
May 14th. Second. It's always the second
So again, I will be gone.
one. Okay.
Just something to think about.
Well, we'll get a proxy for you.
And if you
We'll
were
get
to
a
be
cardboard
elected, you'd
cutout.
be elected in May,
April.
April.
End of April, yeah.
So we would have a
April 24th,
committee
yeah.
of 2
So two-
active members for the month and a half, 2
that
months
month
I'm
and a
gone.
half. Yeah. Can work around it.
Should we
It's happened in the past.
try to
Yeah, we
cut
said
our
that nights.
committee down to 3 members at the same time? On that same ballot, I don't know what we'd have to pass it through.
So
town
that would
meeting.
be a citizen petition to change the bylaw. You can get the bylaw from the town clerk, or it's on the town website. So we've talked about doing that in the past.
Right.
And the caution that I've had around that up until the last couple of years is it kind of limits availability of voices. And yeah, I know the last 2 years have been really rough with, we had 4, 6, 7 months without quorum at all. Before that, we were down to 3 members. I think we ran 3 members for 2 years. And from a chairmanship, that was a nightmare trying to coordinate schedules.
Right, because all of you have to be available.
Yeah, because but up until that point, we always had 4, generally 5 members. It is a changing face of society, though. People don't volunteer as much as they used to in the community. It's something that's been brought up in the past to drop it down to 3, and I think it's something, if you guys want to talk about it over the next month or so, it's something we can discuss. But then again, there's 4 of us sitting here now, so
Yeah, just need to get more.
Right. But I think
Yeah.
either way, we're looking at a 3-person committee fairly soon,
possibly.
whether you win or not. And I'm not
Honestly-
always available. Like for 2 months at
Yeah.
a time, I'm gone.
I mean,
We went quite a long time with 3.
we did. Yeah.
But we literally won't be able to meet for the 2 months I'm gone.
Yeah. So the other side of the coin is if I run and I don't win, I'm going to stay on the committee for at least 1 more year, but I am taking a huge step back.
Right.
And I will just become a member, and I'll show up when I want to. No, I'll show up.
You'll show up the 2 months I'm gone.
Yeah, but it'll be, I would still definitely stay on for at least another year if I don't get elected to Board of Selectmen. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But
Yep.
yeah,
Let's let
I won't
time
leave you
pass.
guys high and dry.
I have
All right.
nothing.
No? Okay. All right. So next meeting is 2 weeks on the 28th. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn at
I
8:54.
move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I guess.